If you think Manchester United and Spurs will be a late game, we have a later one for you. Manchester City, the newly crowned European Super Cup winners, of course, will be taking on a very tricky customer in Newcastle. Pep has already talked about playing on Wednesday night and then Saturday night. He knows at the back of his mind that Newcastle is not playing games this season.
Yeah, Tony, Newcastle actually has been not the surprise of the season, but it seems they've stepped it up from last season.
It doesn't make sense.
That performance against Aston Villa looked like they want
very
something.
complete.
Yeah. So I think even without Man City having played midweek, I think it was going to be a tough game for Pep Guardiola. And with the way City looks shaky, this was going to always be an appetizing game.
Very, very interesting. Of course, it's not often that we say these are the two best sides in the league. They look really, really solid, especially after the opening weekend, like you mentioned. Newcastle hammering Aston Villa 5-1. Brilliant performance from the new signing Sandro Tonali and Harvey Barnes, and of course Alexander Isak also showing some of his credentials. Manchester City, they started with a loss in the Charity Shield. They went away to Burnley and beat them 3-0. Now they went into the midweek game. They drew that game 0-0. 1-1, sorry, and then they won it on penalties. De Bruyne, we've been told, might be out for an extended period. Tell me how Manchester City copes without De Bruyne, because all those games that we are talking about, De Bruyne didn't start them.
Yeah, Tony, De Bruyne did start, and you can see the supply to Haaland is a bit lesser without De Bruyne. So you look at the team and you start thinking, how are they going to fashion up going forward? I've tried to look at the midfield, and I think they will have to draft in Bernardo Silva to try and occupy the De Bruyne role, and then that means you've been fighting between Grealish and Foden at the left wing. Maybe Foden now goes to the number 7, and then maybe that is how the team will look. But Kovacic still, to me, is a downgrade of Gundogan. So this team, for me, is getting even weaker.
You would say that anyone that watched the midweek game against Sevilla could have noticed that there are a bit of weaknesses that can be exploited by a very brilliant side. And Newcastle, like we said, have got some really brilliant signings who have already hit the ground running. Timothy, if you saw how Harvey Barnes and Sandro Tonali played in that game, very, very breathtaking, brilliant counterattacks. Especially now that Pep is also still trying to fashion out his defense. Of course, there's been the signing of Vardiol. They're trying to look for a space for him to play. In the midweek, he played on the left of the defense. And of course, in the other game, he came on as a substitute. Very brilliant defender on his day. If he's coming up against the midfield of Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali, Alexander Isak, the way he played against Aston Villa, this is looking more likely like it's leaning towards Newcastle team.
Yeah, Tony, how many times do we say that in a year?
It's even difficult to mention.
Yeah, Newcastle looks to be the stronger side. But again, you don't discount Man City or Pep Guardiola, because this is what he likes. When the pendulum seems to shift the other way, then he'll give you
he wants to make a statement.
It gives you a result of about 4-0. So I'm trying to tread carefully in this fixture, but I think Newcastle will have some say in this game.
It will be very interesting. Pep Guardiola, of course, coming off the back of that penalty shootout victory against Sevilla in the UEFA Super Cup. There's been rumors of more additions to Manchester City. They haven't made any signings this week that have been confirmed so far. We know that they're still looking at the winger and the midfielder still in this window. For Newcastle, they seem to have finished all their business right now. Maybe they will be looking at a few outgoings as the window draws shut. This is a game mouth-watering, Timothy. It's very interesting. I'm still thinking that there will be some goals for Newcastle in this one. But, again, like you said, we cannot discount Pep. I've gone for a 1-1 draw for this particular fixture.
I've gone for more goals, Tony, in this game. I think it's going to be either 3-3 or 4-3. I want to see a draw in it for sure. I want to go for 3-3, but I think Man City will nick it 4-3.
Those are 7 goals. Timothy is going for a 6 or 7 goal thriller. Very, very interesting. Give us your thoughts from home, how you think this game will pan out. Looks like the biggest game of the season so far. If we are going on current form, number 1 versus number 3. So it's very, very interesting. We'll be keeping our eye on that one. 10 p.m. East African time. That game kicks off, of course, at Manchester City Stadium, the Etihad Stadium. Give us your thoughts in the comments down below. Bye for now.